Hey everyone, welcome to my home and welcome to my channel, A Ginger Can. My name is Brian and today a ginger can make jajang. It's a great and simple Korean recipe. It only takes a couple of ingredients that you see here. This is a bit of a special ingredient. It's fermented bean paste and we'll get to that in a minute. So what we have is about half a pound of pork belly. If you don't have pork belly, then 6 to 8 slices of bacon would do. Half an onion, some Korean radish or daikon if you have that, and a potato. And that's what we're going to get started with. And then when we're finishing up, it's the fermented bean paste and sesame oil, like most everything. So what we end up doing is we buy the packet of pork belly at the Korean market. The wife brings it home. It's pretty frozen. I let it thaw for a little bit, but not too much. And I chop it up and I divide it into half-pound bags and then throw it in the freezer. So this is already ready to go. And I'm going to get this started. And while that's going, I'm going to chop up my onion. And it can be a fine cut or a coarse cut. Total preference to you. All right, and here we go. And just like that, it's chopped. We're going to put that off to the side. The pork is starting to fry up. We're going to want the pork good and crispy. So it's going to cook for a little bit. And the recipe wants you to add some vegetable oil. I don't do that because the pork belly has enough fat in it. And it serves me just fine. All right, and I'm gonna peel and dice up this radish. Ready? And it's diced. There we go. So what I usually end up doing is I add the radish and the onion at the same time as soon as the pork is crispy. So let's get the pork crispy and then we'll move on from there. All right, the pork is just about there, so I'm gonna bring the camera around because most of it's now gonna be at the stovetop, and we'll go from there. So give me a second and get the camera flipped around. All right, the bacon's starting to crisp up. You have bits and pieces starting to get crispy. And turn the heat down a little bit. Now I'm going to add the radish and the onion, and we're going to give this a quick cook, about 5 minutes. And while this is cooking, I'm going to chop up the potatoes. Well, potato. And that is also just a quick small dice. Nothing fancy. You can leave the skin on like I do, or you can peel it. I like the skin. Some people don't. That's okay. Let me get the potato chopped, and then we'll start adding that once this cooks for about 5 minutes. Okay, it's been about 5 minutes. Everything is starting to get browned edges, and that's perfect. You want that texture. So I'm going to add the potatoes now. I've got the boys running around in the background, so if you hear them, that's what it is. One of them still in pajamas, so he's sure not appearing in this film. Comment down below if you got that reference. Get them mixed in. And I don't know if you can see, but there is still plenty of grease in here. That's why I don't add any vegetable oil. Alright. Everything is starting to brown up now. And that's good, because that gives it that flavor. So what I'm going to do now, very precisely like I do in all my videos, I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of black bean paste, fermented black bean paste. So we're going to let this heat up a little bit, kind of like you do with tomato paste when you use that, because you want it to get a little smoky. So don't worry about the spoon too much, because I got 2 cups of water to add to this, and I'm just going to throw the spoon in there and help get it dissolved. This is starting to get smoky, so I'm going to start mixing it in with the vegetables and everything. You want a good coverage of all the vegetables and the pork. If it looks like you're not going to have enough, you can always add a little bit more black bean paste. Because like with most things, once you go over, that's it. This is a very salty paste. If you add too much, then you've overdone it. So I've got good coverage. I'm going to crank up the heat, stir up the water, and pour it in. I'm going to add about a cup at a time. This is another good way to clean off the spoon. Get it in here and start mixing up everything. And there you have it, clean spoon. So I've got this on high heat because you want to bring this up to a boil, because that's how your potatoes are going to get soft. And then we're just going to let it simmer. And it's going to take about 15-20 minutes. We got this up to a boil, and then we're just going to let it simmer. This is going to reduce down, and that's okay. We've got some extra water just in case, because the potatoes are going to absorb it and a lot of it's going to evaporate. And you're going to want a smooth sauce that isn't too thick but isn't too thin. You'll see at the end. I can always add more water. Now, the original recipe that I used to follow would have me mix cornstarch with a 1/4 cup of water, and then near the end you add that to thicken up the sauce. I'm going to tell you right now, I hate cornstarch. I hate it. I hate using it. You just look at it funny and it's all over the place. So I try not to use it. I just let sauces thicken up naturally. Now there are sauces that you tend to use it. Sweet and sour sauce would be a prime example. We're going to let this simmer for about 15 minutes. We'll come back and check to see if the potatoes are softened. And if they are, and as we're checking every now and then, don't leave cooking unattended. As you're checking on it, add some water if you need to. You get the extra water. But we're good to go for now. So I'll come back in a couple minutes and we'll finish this up. It's been about 15 minutes. The potatoes are really soft. I ended up adding about another 1/2 cup of water as it was cooking, stirring continually. And this is what we have. A beautiful sauce. So I'm going to kill the heat, take it off the heat, and add some sesame oil. About a tablespoon. And we'll give it a good stir. And then I'll bring it over to the counter, move the camera around, and we'll plate it. Alright, I just brought it to the counter. It is nice and glossy. Smells perfect. Now this can be served over rice or noodles. Either way is fine. They're both traditional. I always have rice, so I don't feel like cooking an extra batch of noodles. Okay, got my spoon. Let's give this a taste. Pork is crispy, onions are soft, radish is soft, hits the mark in every point. And it takes about 30 minutes, because once it gets going pretty fast. You don't want anything to burn, because once you get the pork starting to get crispy, that's when you add the onion and the radish, and then it'll brown pretty quickly. So you chop up the potato, and if you want to add anything else like zucchini, I've even added bell peppers into this. No one's noticed. You can hide a lot of vegetables in this because it's salty and it masks a lot of the flavors that vegetables would normally have. Root vegetables would work best. I have added carrots in here before too. So that's all I got for you today. Thank you for watching. This has been a ginger can. Again, my name is Brian, and today a ginger can make jajang. It's a black bean paste dish, traditional in Korea. It's like fast food. It's like street food. Really yummy. I cook this at least 2 or 3 times a month. It is easily a staple in this house. So if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. It helps me out a lot. Leave a comment down below. If you're not already subscribed, please subscribe. For those of you that subscribe, thank you. You can hit that little notification bell so that you know when I post. I try to do it every Saturday. I try to get it up at the very beginning of Saturday, but it always isn't the case. So hit that notification bell so you know when I finally get a video up. And share it with your friends. This is, like I said, this is a very simple recipe to do. In fact, one of my wife's families came over for dinner and I prepared this for them. And they were very polite to me. They asked me how I was able to make this. And I told them, well, by practice, because I do make this a lot. And it was it was very kind to me. And I appreciated that. It meant a lot. And they ate it. So, and they're still alive, I think. Pretty sure. I'd have heard if they weren't. So, great recipe, very easy to follow. I hope you liked it, and I'll catch you in the next video.